You gonna do some funny news?
We can try. There hasn't been anything funny in the news lately, though. Has there been?
13-time felon shoots himself in the testicles, then drugs fall out of his butt.
Okay.
Haven't read it. Just read the headline.
I don't think we need to read any more than that, do we? Welcome to the Buckhorn Podcast. I'm Martelle, and with me always is Randy. What up, Randy?
What is up? It is beautiful out.
It is.
Finally. We have gorgeous weather.
It is.
It's cool in this room, which makes me happy.
It is.
And we're here.
We are.
So let's get this thing popping. It's so nice. So I want a motorcycle. Or some kind of a outdoor...
You should get a Honda Ruckus.
Contraption. Well, I would if it would go over like 12 with me on it.
It'll at least do 13.
I've seen big dudes on them. I like around town it would be fine, but...
I want a Honda
Ruckus. That's about it.
Like if I could get a Honda Ruckus...
Get a Grom.
No, I want a Ruckus.
Nah, Groms are better.
I don't want a Grom.
Why?
Because I don't want a motorcycle.
Well, it's kind of...
I want a moped. And that's what a Honda Ruckus is.
Yeah.
They got a top speed of like 45 miles an hour.
Grom's only about 55. So it's like a sport moped.
I mean, I want a Ruckus.
Okay, well, get a Ruckus.
I want something that I can mod out.
Sell the Audi.
No, I'm going to
probably get a Ruckus.
I can't sell it. No one's buying it.
Nobody?
Nope. Had one guy who seemed interested in it and then just ghosted me.
Yeah, that'll happen. That's because he told his wife, and she was like, no.
Actually, I had one guy on Instagram tag his wife and say, please, and then I followed up and tagged her too and said, yeah, please.
And she said, no.
She didn't respond at all. She probably yelled at him.
Right.
And then another guy ghosted me through text messaging.
Shady.
I don't care.
Yeah, I want to, my GW he just recently bought one of those Can-Am Spiders. Which, you know, motorcycle guys are like, that's not a motorcycle. And I'm
that
like,
three-wheel contraption thing?
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's not. Well, he bought it, and I rode it yesterday. And, dude, I came back grinning ear to ear. It was like, so he had to go pick it up last week.
So why not get a Harley trike?
Well, because Harley trikes, where he got this one, they had a Harley trike that just sold. It was a 2009, 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, decent miles, great condition. What do you think it sold for?
Oh, probably 25.
No, it's only 18.9.
Okay.
Only. But these you can get in similar condition for about half that. Or at least, you know, $6,000 less, whatever. When you find them. There's just not as many of them. Plus, the Harley trike is the old, you know, Honda three-wheeler problem. It's the turning's a little difficult. You can't, it's not sporty. It's comfortable.
Well, so that's the problem I have with the Can-Am thing.
But with the two wheels in front, it doesn't tip. You can actually
I don't care about
you
the
can ride
tipping
this
part.
thing.
Tip it all you want. I don't care about that. With the Can-Am piece, it puts you more in an upright position that looks odd for a sport-bodied bike. I'm just going to call it a bike for the lack
he wants the RT, which is the touring one anyway.
So
he's more of a guy that's always like gold wings and big cruisers. But anyway, I rode it, and it rides a lot like, you know, I grew up mainly on four-wheelers.
Right.
It rides a lot like a four-wheeler, but obviously it handles a lot better. The tires are better on the street and things like that. So, and plus Beth is...
Why not just get a Slingshot?
Price. Plus Slingshot's just a go-kart.
Right.
I don't want a go-kart.
But you can put two people in it. You still get three wheels.
You can put two on a...
Yeah, but you got to ride nut to butt.
Well, the person behind me is not going to have nuts. It's going to be my wife. So.
You don't know that. It could be an emergency situation.
Well, if it's an emergency, who cares?
I cares.
Or we'll be not gay, and you can ride backwards.
Ambiguously gay duo.
Right. But yeah, no, it was really fun, and it'd be perfect for Beth and I because I've ridden motorcycles, but she's ridden with her dad and with her brother, and they're like, she can't lean. So almost every corner she wants to counter lean and about put the bike down.
Right.
Well, on this, that's not an issue.
You don't worry, yeah.
So
back to the issue I have with the way this thing looks is it's got like a sportish body on it, and I don't like the upright position that it puts you
you like
in.
being bent over more.
Well, you either need to be forward leaning or reverse leaning. Does that make sense? So you need to be bent over like you're on a sport bike, or you need to be leaned back like you're more on a...
Don't actually lean back, because then you're away from the mic.
Yeah, no. I realized that as I was...
More like a cruiser with your legs
More
out.
like a cruiser with your legs out, and, So it needs to be one way or the other. I see these guys riding around, I'm like, you look semi-ridiculous.
Yeah, but hold on. If I don't walk through the mall and you didn't know me, you'd say the same about me just walking.
I'm talking about them on a bike, though.
But if I don't care what people think when I'm walking around the way I do, why do I care? If I'm having fun, I don't care what you think.
I know.
It's kind of like the dudes in the party pants. We make fun of them, but they don't care what you think.
Yeah, speaking of those assholes,
let's not get started.
I got a story on them that I don't know that I mentioned.
Of course you do.
Since we last talked at the top of the hill.
Oh, geez. You need to move away from this hill.
I'm trying. My sister sent me a new listing for Florida.
Yeah, good luck.
It's a mirror image of her house.
What was it you were saying about that guy tagging his wife and she didn't respond? Hi, Liz. Keep Martelle in Ohio.
Well, I sent the listing. I sent
that.
the listing to Liz too. All she said was the interior of the house was very pretty. She did not like the exterior paint job. My sister's response was, "They have this magical invention called paint."
Right.
But it's an exact duplicate of my sister's house. Everything's just mirrored and reversed.
Yeah.
And it's right around the corner.
Reversed it.
Yep. But ran into a group of bikers the other day up on top of the hill.
Bicyclists.
Yeah, bicyclist assholes. Right here on the top of the hill, there is a antenna station. There's a driveway.
Right.
Did they stop there? No. They stopped directly across the street from one of the side streets and laid down their bicycles in the middle of the road. Guess who had to go around them at the peak at the top of the hill where you can't see over where it starts to crest?
Why did they lay down their bikes in the road?
Beats the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So, of course, what do? They look at me like I'm the asshole and start waving me around, and I start creeping around them because I'm more concerned about traffic coming up because I have to go left of center.
Right. And that's a hill. That's a completely blind hill.
Right.
You can't see over until you crest it.
But they're looking at me, waving
times.
Me around, giving me the evil eye.
Run over their bike.
I considered it. I was in the truck.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
It was some mean mugging going on both ways, and some hand waving and
stopped and held
scooting.
my horn until they moved their bikes.
Well, it was also me pointing because they were only maybe 80 feet from the driveway. And I'm just pointing to the driveway like, go over there.
Ridiculous.
So, Party Pants Central, and it was 12 guys.
Yeah, well,
2
last
bikes
week
in the
when
middle
I
of the
came
road.
out, I forgot to mention it because I got here and saw your smiling face, and it just made me so happy.
Yay.
The entire trip from my house to yours, which was roughly 30 minutes, no matter which way I went, cyclists. Because it was like that first real nice dry day, and they were all riding like 3 abreast, and because of the hills, I couldn't pass them for a mile at a time, so I'm going like 10 mile an hour up these hills, I'm not against cyclists. I just don't like stupid people who go out in public. And the ones that choose to do it in the middle of the road and impede me, that's frustrating.
Share the road, homie. Share the road.
Oh, I'm going to share my bumper.
Right.
I'm kidding. That was a joke. Don't arrest me.
It's not for me. It's not.
But yeah, anyway, now that we've talked about what chaps our cheeks again.
Yay.
We haven't done that in a while.
I know.
Let's go on with our little tasting here.
So we have a tasting. You brought something in a brown paper bag that you wouldn't let me see.
Actually, it's not in a bag. I hid it in my lunchbox because I didn't have a brown paper bag.
Why would you give away the mystique of just the brown paper bag?
Because I want everybody to know that I carried in my old, 10-year-old, soft lunchbox.
No one cares.
With ponies on it.
You brought in a brown paper bag.
Yeah, I had a brown paper bag laying around, because who doesn't? It's a full-size grocery bag.
They put it in a
bottle
brown paper bag when you buy it at the liquor store.
That's for plastic, because screw sea turtles.
That's plastic straws, and they're illegal in California.
Oh.
Thanks, California.
Well, we don't have an ocean here, so we don't have to worry about it.
We've got Buckeye Ocean.
Screw catfish. Bottom feeders. See, I brought this out. Now, this is something we've talked about a few times, but we've never reviewed it.
Oh, this is benchmark number 8.
Nope.
Damn it. It's very astringent-ish.
Astringent-ish.
It's got kind of an ethanol on the nose.
I'm so stuffed up I can barely smell anything.
You're always stuffed. You need to be punched in the face.
I need to be less fat.
That's not going to help your being stuffed up.
It'll help me breathe. I have a glandular disorder.
There's no
Martelle.
correlation between being fat and being stuffed up.
I have a glandular disorder.
That's made up.
Well, so it's a strong.
Wow.
Your face says it all.
That right off the rip, it's got a burn to it.
Yeah. Guess the proof?
It's got to be like 120.
Nope. 90.
There's no way.
It's a 90 proof.
Holy shit.
Now, I will say, it's way better on ice or with water in it. Like, way better. He's getting some water here.
Yeah, I'm going to put some water in that.
You might need more water than that.
We'll start with that first. You did give me like a quadruple pour, though.
Well, not a bartender.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Because
I'm fat?
No.
Is that a fat joke?
No, that was just poor choices joke.
Poor choices.
Oh, that did change it a lot.
Told you. So we tried it neat at first. It's got definite burn.
Yeah, that has a... Whew.
This is one of those ones that I'll fill up a whole tumbler full of ice, pour a little in, and just let the ice melt down.
Let that sit.
That's good. Let it sit for a minute.
Yeah, that's better after...
It's way better, ain't it? So This is one of those ones, and I talked to somebody recently, the first guy ever, and I mentioned it before, that asked me the question. He was like, I'm getting into bourbon whiskey, and they always ask me how I want. I say neat, because like, I'm a man. But almost every one really tastes better once it opens up with a splash of water with some ice. And I talked about this recently with somebody else over the 2-bit Eureka Gold.
Yeah.
The gentleman I gave it to at the Governor's Cigar Lounge in Westerville. I left it with him just because I thought he was a cool guy in the community. And he said the same thing. He took it later. He tried it neat, had a little burn, put a big old ice cube in it, big old whiskey block ice cube thing, and loved it. And so I was telling him that I was like, water or ice can really open up the flavors, and it mellows it out. It makes it more full-bodied.
Right.
No, it don't. And I got one of those like, I know what I'm talking about kind of things. And I said, that's fine that you feel that way. I don't care. Like I know what I like. I know what I know.
Well, adding water to it and it opening it up is pure science.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter what he knows or what he feels.
Exactly.
It's science.
But that's you can't talk logic to somebody that's not willing to be logical in a discussion. It was one of those. So I went, well, okay. That's how you like it. So
back to the...
You can be wrong.
The common sense episode that we had is it logical thinking versus common sense? And
right.
He's not open to either at that point then. Until he tries it for himself.
Mm-hmm. So you like it better with a splash? And you didn't put in much water.
No, I didn't put out a ton.
But it changes it drastically, doesn't it?
Well, just even a couple drops will change.
Right.
2 ounces, just 2 or 3 drops will change 2 ounces. So,
yeah,
and I put in a lot more than 2 or 3 drops.
Yeah. So what would you rate this one?
This is easily going to get... I'll give it a 3.
Okay. I'm with you on that.
I'll give it a 3. This is a solid 3. This is right down the middle.
What would you pay for a bottle of this?
Oh. If this is more than $29.99, I'm going to be heartbroken.
All right. So what we have here is... I'm pulling this out of my
this is
not lunch bag.
Me, like I'm just trying to It's not smooth. I mean, it doesn't matter how much water I add to that.
No, it's not real smooth.
And when I say smooth, it has a burn to it, even after the water. It doesn't have that.
It's not like the Virgil Cane.
No,
where you get that good burn, but it's smooth. This is...
Yeah, it still has that...
It's not like Moonshine or Everclear.
No, it has that ethanol... I mean, it has that alcohol burn to it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get rid of that unless you really dilute it down. But it's kind of got those baking spices to it. A little bit of caramel, maybe some brown sugar. Nothing floral to it.
No, not at all.
There are no floral notes. And I'm not picking up much anything else, but I'm not very good at picking things up either.
Yeah, we've discussed that.
It's kind of woodsy in a way. Like you can really taste the oak in it.
Yeah.
It's very, very oaky.
Almost like a wood-fired
pizza.
You can kind of taste that difference.
Yeah, you can taste the oak in it. Like you can taste that charred oak flavor in it. So
right on. You ready?
Yeah, what you got?
This is Ancient Age 10-star.
Look at you.
So I finally found a bottle.
So this is that bottom shelf.
This is bottom shelf, but there's a difference between
$20.
Ancient Age
An Ancient Age.
An Ancient Age 10-star, which used to be aged 10 years. Now I believe it's aged about 7. But it's a sour mash Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is from Buffalo Trace. So your Buffalo Trace, your Eagle Rare, this is from the same distillery.
Really?
Yep. Now, the Ancient Age has been very hard to find because of that. It's the same thing with all the other Buffalo Traces. The Ancient Age, for this bottle, you're going to spend $9.99. And it is nothing but a mixer. Do not get it unless you plan on mixing with Coke at a party or put it in some kind of a mixed drink. It's cheap, and it tastes cheap. The Ancient Age is cheap, but it's not bad straight. I would feel bad giving you Ancient Age straight because it's rough. But this is only $13 a bottle. $13 to $15 depending.
Okay. So I wasn't too far off.
No, you weren't. So very fairly priced.
Yeah.
Now, recently I did find the Heaven Hill, not the Bottled and Bond, but it's about the same price point.
Yeah.
I put this on the same shelf with that.
Okay.
Which actually, where I got them, they were on the same shelf.
Well, the bottle and bonded was only $12.99 for the small bottle.
Yeah, that's what the Heaven Hill, the 750 bottle was like 13, 15-ish, something like that.
Right.
So same as this. But yeah, this is a 90 proof, distilled, aged, and bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky. And yeah, it's not bad.
No, it is not terrible.
For the price. It's not something you're going to take to impress somebody, but
absolutely
this was the first time I had this. I did a tasting with a buddy who had Woodford Reserve, Knob Creek, and this, and I wasn't allowed to see any of them and I had to pick. I was able to identify the Woodford pretty easily. The Knob Creek I didn't know, but I liked, and this I had no clue about, but I liked it.
Okay.
I'm like, that's not bad. But you're comparing two $50 bottles to a $13 bottle. So I could taste a little difference, but yeah, this is one that it's actually been in my pantry a while now because I haven't been drinking at home at all. Not even something, a single at night, but.
So I went Googled this out, and here is what is from Buffalo Trace. This is the tasting notes from Buffalo Trace.
Now, is this the Ancient?
This is the Ancient.
Okay.
So, tasting notes are aromas of oak wood, clover, and honey. Round out the nose.
We had the oak wood for sure.
That's from the nose. I didn't catch any of that.
I didn't get the honey at all.
I'm not catching any of that. I just get.
I didn't
it
know
smells
clover
like
had
it's
a
gonna.
smell.
I just get it's gonna burn when it touches my lips. Strong and warm flavors of corn, vanilla, and spice. I'm not catching any of that.
You said it had spices you could taste.
Well, I said spices, yeah, but
and I definitely could see the corn. This is kind of more the corn mash. You can kind of taste the more.
But I don't know what corn tastes like.
You've never had corn?
I've only had sweet corn. I don't know what.
You've never just had corn. You live in Ohio.
I'd not feed corn.
And even
not this crap. Not what they're using to make whiskey out of. I don't walk out here and grab a thing of corn and like shuck it and just start eating it.
I mean, you can.
I could, but it's not. I don't know what feed corn tastes like, and that's what they're.
Well, the stuff around here tastes like whatever chemicals they sprayed on will probably kill you.
Probably, but
it just hasn't been cleaned.
And then finishes with a takeaway of caramel and toffee. So I'm getting. I guess I get a hint of caramel or toffee, but.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know if I could identify it
but
as that.
I can't identify. My palate's just not that sophisticated.
Yeah.
My palate's too
sophisticated
dumb for that.
Which is funny because people really like talk to us a lot about this, and we give our opinion, but
I just look at them like
we're not professionals. Here's our opinion.
I'm nowhere near as good as other people.
We have
good
taste, but
I like what I
like. Exactly. But I would like to think what we like. Well, what we've had and shared. Like with Kamiwaza, they love the Virgil cane.
Oh, they love the Virgil cane. So, they like the 2-bit. They really like the 2-bitch pack leader reserve.
Yeah, yep.
Because that was the one we brought over for Dude, and I let them steal some of that out of Dude's little sample bottle. So, because I took 4 ounces over, a little more than, and so that was really good. And the Virgil cane was, I mean, even Dr. Ohm was like.
Yeah,
he was like, whoa, where can I get that?
Right. Like, he was wanting more of that.
You can't.
Yep.
He's like,
you can. You just got to travel for it.
So, and actually, a friend of mine picked up a bottle of the Roundhouse and the Electric Owl. He found, and some Ash Cat. So Ash Cat's not supposed to be available anymore. I got to put some downstairs.
We haven't reviewed that.
No, not the Ash Cat.
I haven't had the Ash Cat.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, we'll have to do that on a show. But I'm getting another bottle of Roundhouse and a bottle of Electric Owl, and then when I'm down in Myrtle Beach in a couple weeks, I'm going to see if I can get some more Roundhouse. Nice. Or not at Roundhouse. See if I can find some Ash Cat. So I'm going to be on the lookout for it.
Good deal.
For a decent price. I'm not going to overpay for... I mean, I know what it's worth. And so anyway, yeah, ancient age.
There it is.
There it is. So good
3
stuff.
stars.
Yeah, 3 stars. Definitely.
It's hard to beat for 13-ish bucks.
No.
It's real hard to beat.
That's good.
For bottom shelf, yeah.
I'm
happy with it.
I was expecting benchmark number 8.
I know you were, because when I had bottles, you're like, he did not spend money.
I'm like, I'm bringing burping. Okay, I know you had to bend over to get it, and that was tough for you.
I exerted force and energies, but I counted that rep.
Did you?
Yeah, every time I stand up's a squat. Count my steps.
Every time you sit down and take a shit, that's a squat.
Yeah, you got to get back up.
I mean, at some point.
But if you wait till your legs are numb, it don't hurt as bad.
You just can't walk away sometimes.
Well, you got to stand there about 5 minutes. But,
a little wobbly.
Right. Just hold on to something.
Ow, my foot.
What are we talking about today?
Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I was asked a question the other day by the guy who sits next to me. So we had a new gentleman who sits next to me in the office.
We should verify.
At work. I was getting there. So we have a contractor, and he asked me some compelling questions occasionally. And this is one that I liked that I thought I would ask. So the question, and I had to kind of rewrite it, because the way he asked it to me, and I don't remember how he asked it, but I had him like, you need to ask that like in a different
Right.
In a different way. I don't understand like
how it was presented.
So, how much of everything that is asked from everyone around you in a percentage is bullshit?
How much? So basically, how much of every question you're ever asked is complete crap?
Right.
Now, is this asking how much I think is crap, or how much is this a common sense thing?
No, this is.
I should have been asked that.
So basically,
or
how much of every question that is ever asked of you is complete nonsense?
I never
versus how much is asked of you that every question that has ever been asked of you is not nonsense. So, and that's what. There are several different ways you can look at this question.
Yeah,
that's and I presented it to him as one way, and I basically look at everything. 75% of everything that is asked is truth.
What do you mean it's truth?
So,
I mean, how is something that is asked a truth?
So,
You mean it's
because
relevant, or it's
relevant,
valid,
or it's
valid.
irrelevant, valid, invalid, because you can't know everything.
Right.
So if someone says that sky is blue, you look up and you go, "Yep, that's valid."
Well, that's not a question.
Well,
though.
it's.
I'm getting real confused.
Okay. Look at it as more of not so much of as a question,
but of what somebody says or
what someone
to
says or presents to you.
How much of it is?
He presented it more as a question to me, and I turned
okay.
it around as more of a statement.
So how much of what you hear is legitimate?
Right. So, like I said, when he presented it to me, he presented it as a question. I turned it around as to be more of what you hear or as a statement back to him. So, and I said, it has to be this way because you don't know everything. So you have to take everything you hear at face value because you don't know everything. So you can take it at 85% of everything you know is valid because you don't know everything, and the other 15% is invalid because you know that 15%. Or you can take it at 25% is valid or is invalid because you know that 25%. It depends on how you want to look at things and how much you want to say you know a percentage of. So,
I think there's too many variances to give an answer.
Well, you have to
How much do I know about astrophysics
in general?
Like
the whole
0.002%. How much do I know about forging?
But see, that's
like
the thing.
30%. How much do I know about podcasting? Like 7%.
Right. And that's exactly what. So
I don't know a lot. I'm figuring that out right now because a lot of this is stuff I do, and I'm going, I really don't know what I'm doing.
But that's when you break it down to in general.
So you're saying in general, of my general knowledge, not what I hear from others.
But not when you hear from others. So in general, you know X amount of in general. But in that in general, when someone talks to you about forging, you know 80% of forging. So you don't know the other 20%. And I don't know if that's a valid statement or not, but we're just going to say for sake of math.
Much lower for me, but
well, I'm just saying for sake of math. But when it comes to, I don't know, go-kart racing, you know only 10% because you can step on a gas pedal and shift a gear. But the other 10% or the other 90%, you have no idea.
Yeah. So
it comes down to that whole, okay, how do you break things down? So I just broke it down to a 25-75. I know that whatever 75% is told to me must be...
It's probably true.
It's probably true. I have to take it at face value. Anything else outside of that 75%, I have knowledge of.
Well, let me ask you
if someone says something to me about clipping a dog's toenails. I know how to clip a dog's toenails. You can't tell me that you should clip them all the way up to his all the way up to his paws. He's got nerve endings in his. That's where his cuticles are. He'll bleed. He'll yelp. There's nerve endings. You can only go up so far. I'm only using that because Diesel's laying here on the floor.
You're looking at dog feet.
I just looked over and there's Diesel when he needs his toenails clipped.
He's out.
He's out like a light.
Let me ask you this. How much pot do you guys smoke at work? Just 75% of it?
I wish we were smoking more.
I don't smoke pot, but I feel like if I did, I'd understand what you're asking better because I'm kind of lost. So maybe I don't understand as much or know as much. Because at first you're talking about information you receive. So like the stuff you hear from others. But then again, the problem is, did I hear it on Fox or CNN? And it's just random news throughout the day, or did I hear Janetti?
It's information you
talking
know
about self-defense, and I know this dude knows what he's talking about.
It's information you know, not information that you've heard.
So you're saying just total information in my head that I know,
stuff that you have studied, stuff that you know, information you've gone out and gathered that you know.
So for me, it would probably be things like facility maintenance, music,
random shit.
Playing.
Elephants can't jump.
I don't know. How do you put a percentage on that? I'll say mine's 74. You're smarter than me. I don't know. I've never thought about it.
See, it took me It took me easily 4 hours to answer this question.
And probably you're just like 75-25.
I'm like 75-25. Like I came back 4 hours later. I'm like 75-25.
I mean, just all around knowledge. I think there's too much to learn.
Well, that's the thing.
In one lifetime, you can't. I don't think I'd hit 75. If you're saying, okay,
it's
so
your general knowledge, though.
I'd like to think that 100% of what I know is real life fact.
It's like what Aaron...
I don't always talk like it is, but what I truly know and believe, I would like to think is fact. But you're right, you can't, because I'm proven wrong every day. I mean,
right.
It's like science. So science says Pluto's a planet.
And then
science
it's not.
says Pluto's not a planet. Like science is always... Or science says that this happens because X, Y, Z, and then 10 years later, somebody goes, whoa, it actually happens because of ABC. So science is even constantly studying and trying to learn. So I don't know.
Science contradicts itself.
Honestly,
all
I would
the time.
say that we think it's 75%, but I bet it's way lower. I bet it's closer to 30-40%.
Probably.
That would be, if I had to put an honest answer and really thought it out, I'd say it's probably much lower than we think it is.
But it's not what we think it is. It's what you think it is.
So just what I know to me?
What you know to you. That's the question. How much of everything
just general life knowledge
that everyone around you tells you or asks you or information...
But see, that's not just me knowing what I know in my head. That's what other people are asking or telling to me. So how much do I feel the world that I'm taking in then, basically?
It's a percentage of what
you're taking in.
Of what you take in or people ask you or people tell you is a percentage of bullshit. So I had to, like I said, I had to turn it around on him because...
It's hard because it really depends on what your sources are.
Because it's what you know that you know.
All their time watching one news channel. Let's just say, I'm not even going to say Fox and CNN because that's the big leg. Everybody's like, "Hey, you watch Fox, you're an idiot. You watch CNN." And
see, I'm trying to keep you on track because you're taking it down this road of watching CNN. It's what you know.
But then you just said what I'm taking in. I take in stuff from the news. I take it in from Facebook, from my friends, from instructors.
But
podcasts.
It goes back to, so think about when Aaron and Dr. Ohm were talking about, I can take you downstairs and run you through a series of drills that are completely wrong, but you think they're going to be right.
Well, if you started giving me like IT tutorials, and as long as you could teach me something in your field and you could prove it, because I'd have to see it in action, I'd say that's right. If it didn't work, I'd say no, it's complete crap. But that's blatantly obvious. I don't think that has to do with like if Janetti goes, okay, here's how you disarm somebody, and he takes a gun from somebody. That worked. I'm going to learn that.
Like, I'm going to use my chi on you to take you down.
All right, here's how you get a pistol out of somebody's hand, and he did that crap on the internet where he, like, uses the force, and, just kind of spins them around, and they throw the gun. I was just going to be like, that's complete crap. So I don't know if I can put a percentage on that, because that would be so specific to the topic and to the source.
But that would be something that you watched.
I would say
that
at
you
least
took
half
in
of the crap that I hear or see on a daily basis from all sources, be it news, social media, podcasts, friends talking like we do, I'd say at least half of it's complete crap.
There you go.
Because it's on what I'm taking in. I'm not sitting around reading Encyclopedia Britannica. Encyclopedia Britannica. I had to make sure I said that right.
But that's the point. That's the point of the question. We know you're not sitting around reading the encyclopedia or Wikipedia, for that matter, or
even Wikipedia.
It's like, but Wikipedia can be changed on a whim.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But that's the point of the question: is how much do you think the percentage of what is asked or told to you is?
I feel like somebody was on
garbage.
Mushrooms when they came up with this question. I'd say 60% is complete crap there.
Okay.
I don't know. I know a guy that...
It's a thought-provoking question.
He's a single guy. He is very, very well-read. He has a TV in his house, but it got to a point that it distracted him so much that he just threw a blanket over his TV one day. He's like, I don't even want to see it because then I don't want to turn it on. So he'll sit and make sure he reads, make sure he studies something. And then he'll watch TV a little bit, but so he's, I would say he's way more knowledgeable about, I've recently just for the first time watched Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
One of my favorite parts of that is when Robin Williams says, I'm not asking you what the book says. He's like, I can tell you've read like a kabillion books, right? I don't care what the book says. tell me what you feel. Tell me what you think.
Right.
So he's like, I can throw out 100 questions and you can tell me everything, but what do you feel? So for me, when it comes down to when you say how much is complete crap, somebody that's well read and has facts versus me going, well, I read Chaucer, but it's been years ago. Or I read whatever it is. I don't know why Chaucer popped in my head. That's somebody that wrote stories a long time ago that had nothing to do with anything factual.
I read Where the Sidewalk Ends the other day.
I don't think I've ever even read that all the way through.
They're just short stories.
Oh, I know, but I did read it. It's just been, I was like 3rd grade, 4th grade, whatever. But somebody that has more of a broader knowledge spectrum.
It's going to be different per person.
That's what I'm saying. So for me, and my thing is when like I had one time a younger cousin, this has been years ago, and he's older now and probably a lot smarter, but at one point he thought I was really smart. Joke's on him. And he just saw somebody getting kind of a discussion with me on Facebook years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And at a family reunion, he's like, dude, I would never want to get into like an argument with you. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I've never seen you lose an argument. I was like, first off, that's not true, because I'm an idiot and I get proven wrong all the time. I said, secondly, if it's online, I probably was just joking. I might have been just pushing somebody to see how far they'd go. But I said, third, I said, I try hard, and I fail at this so many times, but I really try not to get into discussions, especially debates about stuff I don't know about. So I'm not going to sit here and debate things like nuclear fission or debate things like moral issues, which moral issues change from person to person, really.
Right.
And religion or faith, whatever. I'm not going to get into big debates about those because I can't prove that I'm quote-unquote right. There is no winning a discussion based on belief, based on morals and ethics. For the most part, I mean, obviously there are things like, raping a child. That's wrong no matter who you are.
Right.
Cold-blood murder. That's wrong no matter who you are. But
unless you're in a death cult,
sense.
but then
it's still wrong. That doesn't make it right. You're messed up in the head. And
well, that depends on the cult. Like a death cult in Mexico, that's not wrong.
A death cult, man, like Jonestown?
No. Like there are death cults in Mexico.
Yeah, well, see, I'm not going to talk on that because I don't know anything about it.
I just found out about them.
But I don't know if I can put a percentage on how much of what I take in, or completely, really different scenario. You kind of present it too. How much of what I take in is crap, or how much knowledge do I have that I think is actually real and applicable?
It's actually a combination of both.
I mean, it's the same discussion. It's in the same boat, but it's two different oars. And I don't know why I just used that analogy. I just popped in my head and I pictured me in a rowboat, a big one that would hold me.
So,
not a little dinghy.
So I would imagine that because I'm not that smart of a guy. I like to claim that I am.
I think you're smart.
I have a lot of knowledge in really obscure fields, like elephants not being able to jump, just random shit.
I think that's common sense. I think most people know that.
I don't think a lot of people know that elephants
maybe
can't
not.
jump.
They do now.
But
our listeners do.
I would imagine that the higher up in the your knowledge base you get, the smarter you are, the smaller this percentage gets on where the what you know and what is bullshit, where one starts to become larger than the other. So like for me, people start, my thing is 75-25. What people tell me is 75% versus what I know is 25%, versus that's the tide starts to shift where people start to tell me things. The smarter that I am, that number starts to get smaller. And
well, the way you're presenting that then is talking about how much knowledge you're gaining. So You're saying once you get to a certain level, you can't learn any more on that subject. You have to find somebody smarter to raise you up. That's not really a percentage thing, I don't think.
That's just your knowledge base.
Yeah, that's the way you present
on
the question,
general knowledge.
really.
So think, what was that Whalings guy that was on Jeopardy?
I don't know.
He was going up
him.
against.
I don't watch TV.
I know. I don't
watch like Netflix and stuff, but
that's about where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't watch, but
I like Jeopardy.
he was on Jeopardy. I mean,
don't watch it.
If someone told him that the sky was purple, he'd be like, "Bullshit, it's blue." You're like, "Nah, it's purple."
But that goes back to, I don't know if that's a knowledge thing because that's perceived. You can see the sky's blue by walking outside, but
Well, I'm just using that as a.
if somebody way smarter than me, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, aka Black Science Man, told me the sky is actually purple, but we see it as blue because of X, Y, Z. This way, the gamma rays and the photons and the protons and the neutrons and electrons and the ions do this with our corneas and blah, blah, blah. I would sit there and go, okay, he's way more knowledgeable than me. I'm going to accept that that may be true because I can't prove it wrong. It may not be. I just know I see blue.
Right.
But I can't sit there and say, well, that's part of that 25% because I see blue and it's not purple. When somebody smarter than me that understands how eyes work or, you know.
Well, he's an astrophysicist.
Right. So if he's telling me that it's
He's
really
not an
purple,
optometrist.
we just see it blue. Fine, Bill Nye the Science Guy then. He's neither. He's not even a real scientist. But if he's telling me that the sky's purple, we just perceive it as blue because blah, blah, blah. Which, I mean, sometimes the sky looks purple when sunsets and stuff. But anyway,
Well, I think that's just prisms.
I would sit there, I could have sit there and say 75% of what you said is true, but the other 25% is crap. I would sit there and have to say, okay, I'm going to have to accept that that may be true.
Right.
So I can't do a percentage on that. I can't say that because that's a is it purple or is it not purple? That's a yes or no. There is no, well, it's 75% purple because then you just got blurple.
But you have to, at some point, you're going to have to accept the fact that someone may be true and someone may be wrong.
Right,
It's
but
science.
I can't put a percentage on is what I'm saying.
Well, at
You're
some
right.
point, you do.
I don't think I can.
You have to.
No, I don't.
You know, you do.
You know, you're 60% wrong. I don't have
Or
to.
I'm 40% right.
That's potato, tomato.
No.
They're both fruits.
It's math.
You're a fruit.
And I'm awful at math, but I just figured that
you
out.
are really bad at math.
I'm horrible at math.
I don't know. I would say that the problem with if I'm reading what we take in, the problem is we take in so much crap that people put out as fact before they verified it.
Absolutely.
Stuff shared on Facebook looks nice because it's a meme.
Yeah.
And you read it and you go, oh. Well, one of my favorites is going around again. There's this whale that has all this plastic coming out of its mouth found dead on a beach, and everybody shares it. That was an art sculpture created by an artist to raise awareness that we're throwing away trash. There's big islands of trash floating around the oceans, killing animals. But that particular picture is not even a real whale. And everybody's just going off about how, oh, clean up your trash, blah, blah, which... From the people I know that have shared it, I don't see them doing anything to help the situation except sharing the picture, which I admittedly have been guilty of in the past. But
would you like to also know where roughly the most percentage of trash comes from in the world?
No, I don't care. It's irrelevant.
It's not, though. It's not the United States. It's China.
But to me, it doesn't matter.
It may not.
Whether it happens, it's just whether it happens or not and how people want to campaign against it.
Right.
I don't care if it all comes from, every single bit of it comes from Columbus, Ohio. 100% of it. That's irrelevant to me. The thing is that my point was people are sharing this information because they read it and it pulls the heartstring, right? So you share that or you put that out there, you campaign against it, but you don't research it. You don't, and that's something like Coney 2012. You remember that? There's a guy overseas doing bad things to kids, and everybody went nuts for this.
Didn't the director of that get picked up for kiddie porn or something?
There's all it's a whole big mess. And honestly, I kind of after so long kind of just went, okay, I'm out.
I'm out on all of it.
Yeah, so everybody's sharing, and everybody's like, we need to raise funds, we need to do this, but nobody's doing anything. And they're sharing every single thing they see. They're sharing but they're not verifying. They're not. And it's this big deal. And here we are in 2019. What happened?
Nothing.
So
he's still a warlord, as far as I know.
I don't know. I've lost track, and I don't see stuff plastered everywhere where the news isn't talking about it. So
they've moved on to other things.
I'm sitting here going, how much of that was fact? I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not traveling overseas. Should I? I don't. I think that comes down to person to person. If you feel led to, you should. If you don't, you shouldn't. But
oh no, the director got caught running through a parking lot naked. That's what it was.
Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. He got picked up for indecent exposure.
But to sit here and try and guess how much of the knowledge I know is fact and how much is crap, I would say that a lot of what I think I know, I don't. If I'm being real honest with myself, I try to be open though that if somebody says no, you're wrong, I try not to just yell at them or write them off. I try to go, okay, why? Like,
and that's the way it should be.
Now, if the wrong is the sky's purple, I go, okay, I acknowledge your opinion. Or I acknowledge that you feel that way. Or, okay, tell me more. Like, tell me why you feel that. But, like, some of it's, the stuff that's blatantly obvious, the common sense stuff, somebody's trying to argue that. Especially with, I don't want to get into it at all. But when it comes to the politics, there's stuff that people say, and I literally, I don't like it, I don't comment or anything, because I sit here going, you haven't fact-checked this. My favorite thing to do, and I've had it done to me, is to go on Snopes.
Let's go ahead.
When somebody shares something, go find the Snopes article and just post it and leave it. And I've had people tell me, thank you, because I took this as truth, and you've shown us not.
Let's take the political thing. Let's jump straight to the kid in the MAGA hat.
The MAGA hat versus the Native American, who's a war hero who wasn't.
Who, oh my God, this kid... He is out. He is blasting, Native Americans. He's up in their face, and that wasn't the case at all. But everybody jumped on, blasting this kid immediately.
Yeah, and everybody shared it and
shared on Facebook.
But then when the truth came out, everybody got real quiet.
There was no follow up to. Not from everybody. There was some follow up, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't near.
It wasn't near enough
to
reverse the damage that
guy's
was going to happen.
Parents were receiving death threats,
right? But it wasn't, and the Native American wasn't necessarily a veteran of war.
He was a veteran. He never left the States.
But, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't a veteran of war.
Right.
But
like the media made him out to be.
Right. And it was it Black Panthers or was it... It was a whole other group that started the shit in the first place.
It wasn't the Panthers, I don't think. But it
or
was
Black Lives Matter, or it was another group that started the shit in the first place.
Anyway.
So things get blown out of proportion versus what you know, what you perceive, and how things are told to you.
I still, personally, I don't know how to put a percentage on that.
So, like I said,
I would say that 100% of the stuff, you need to accept that it may be true and it may be false until you know more.
Right.
Period.
And that's what... And
I would say 100%.
That's what this question asks. What you know versus what you don't know. There's no gray area. It's what you know versus what you don't know. And you can change...
We don't know a lot of times what we don't know.
Exactly.
So how do I put a percentage on it?
You don't
if
know
I don't know, well, then you can't do 75-25.
So what you don't know is what you don't know. So you accept it as it is, but that doesn't...
Right now.
I know. So what you don't know is what you don't know. And you just accept it as for what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know.
Okay.
So you just accept it.
Okay.
Okay? You accept it as truth.
Like Black Science Man saying the sky's purple. I don't know that it's not, so sure, it's true.
You accept it as truth. You move on with your life.
It's truth.
But you don't go out on the internet and start blabbing that it's not or that it is. You just accept it.
I don't accept it. I accept the fact that it might be true.
Okay. That's fine.
How do I put a percentage on that?
You just move on and you just put it into a category. Yes? No. Move on. You don't do anything with it. You just move on.
I'm going to say 7% of what I know, and 93% of what I don't know.
There you go.
There's my numbers.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I can...
It's how you perceive the question.
I just don't think it's that simple.
It's for you and how you perceive and how much you want to read into it. I look at things and I just keep things simple. That's why I'm at 75 and 25.
Martelle, someone comes to Martelle like, is this a cow or a chicken? You're like, it's 75% cow, 25% chicken.
I'm like, it's a lizard. It came from an egg. It's a lizard.
Okay.
Dinosaurs are from birds.
Komodo dragon.
Birds are from dinosaurs. Let me reverse that.
I had a 10-speed bike named a Komodo dragon.
I had a Shimodo.
I thought it was awesome, but it was crap. It was like a $20 Walmart bike. I was just too poor to know it was a cheap bike.
Birds come from dinosaurs. It's a lizard.
I don't know. One of the things that I find true more and more every day is that ignorance is bliss. And I don't mean that as an insult, because a lot of people get into a debate and they will, even a discussion, even if you're talking with friends, a lot of people get into a discussion and play the I know more than them.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't even accept the fact, and I love more than anything, even if I agree with people sometimes, especially online, because context is lost and I play into that, I love playing devil's advocate.
I do that
The whole
every
pineapple
day.
on pizza thing. I actually don't mind pineapple on pizza, but it's so much more
so
fun
good.
to see everybody not flip out, but you know what I'm saying, to poke that bear. And the same thing with the politics, with the faith. Here's my favorite one I shared. So, story going around about how tornado wiped out a home, and it kept this Bible was found safe and untouched in the rubble. In the picture with the Bible was a picture frame with glass that wasn't broken and a plastic water gun. And I replied on the dude's comment like, whatever he said, or the headline said, I just replaced Bible with toy squirt gun. And nobody replied to that. And then I shared it, and I was like, look, as a man of faith, as somebody that believes in Jesus Christ, as the Bible presents him, does anybody else find it odd that as believers, let me finish, if God is such a loving God, and God cares so much for us, and God wants a personal relationship with us, don't you think he would keep us safe over another printing of his multi-billion books sold Bible that could be reprinted? And it frustrates me to see Christians sharing this as some sign of faith. When a fire goes down and the statue of Mary is safe and all the Catholics rejoice, I'm going, you look, 3 kids died in this fire. Are you saying that Mother Mary cares more about her statue than these 3 kids? So anytime we share any of that, it's kind of when you're talking about what I know versus what I don't know and this and that, when I say ignorance is bliss, I feel like it's easy for us to go, this whale died because he ate all the trash. It's easy to get on that campaign, on that soapbox, and not knowing that this is an artist installation on a beach overseas that they made and they created. It's not even a real whale. It looked real. It was very well done. But the ignorance of not knowing that's a fake whale and fake trash, or maybe it's real trash, I don't know, but an art installation, the ignorance is bliss in that. So for me, when I say ignorance is bliss, I try to apply it to myself because I've been proven wrong, and I go, well, ignorance was bliss, and now I know the truth, and it sucks. It's not what I thought it was.
But the squirt gun had holy water in it.
That's what you were waiting to say. I could tell you want to say something. Well played. Well played. Oh, I wish I would have thought of that. I would have said something about that. I would have said must have had holy water in it. Dang it.
I know, right?
Usually I'm quick like that. But yeah, this whole ignorance truly is bliss. And most people don't know. Most people aren't willing to accept the fact that they're ignorant on anything.
No. Everybody has something to say
because
they know everything.
And I think a lot of it...
That's why I'm not on Facebook anymore. I post my good morning message. Hey, how you doing? Mindset is everything. I'm off of Facebook for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Your posts suck.
I don't care.
I just want to tell you that because everyone else does.
No, it's my photos suck.
Oh.
They're not advertisement quality, even though someone has told me that they mistaken one of my photos for an advertisement. Actually, 2 people told me that in the same day.
Yeah, your phone app is good. I'll give you that.
Like, I literally, in the same day, was told...
Yeah, I saw one of them where they were scrolling thought it was an ad for something.
They were like, oh, I thought this was an ad for something.
Yeah.
And then someone else within 30 minutes came by when we were sitting at the Pink Cricket.
But it's not. See, ignorance is bliss.
Then they said...
They thought they knew what it was.
They were like, I thought that was an advertisement.
Now
I want to go have a pizza and a beer. And I'm like, hold on. Let me create an advertisement for you. And I did a photo shoot right then and there at my table with pizza and a beer and tagged them in it. It's just for them.
I forget how we got onto this.
It doesn't matter. Let's move on. So... we were talking about steak before we started recording.
Oh, steak. We were talking about steak. It's summertime. It's grilling
summertime.
Season.
We're going to start grilling out. I'm over this question. I don't even remember what it was anymore. I'll have to look it up again. But we were talking about steak, and I think it's like the 10 ways.
It's a master chef that shares 10 steak cooking myths to ignore to cook the perfect steak.
Yeah, let's do this, because I have a specific way that I cook steak.
You talked about it before on here.
There's one way that I do steak every single time, and it never misses.
First off, I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsor.
We have a sponsor?
Oh, we do. They're not giving us anything for it, but it's my favorite steak in the world.
So how the hell are they sponsoring us?
Because just trust me.
We have a sponsor every single episode.
We do?
Yeah.
Diesel?
No.
Do people pay us?
Well, they paid us in a bottle of bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
It is 2-bitch bourbon.
We're out of that. We need paid more, by the way.
We're not out just yet.
Well, man.
We have...
Shh, they don't know that.
Oh.
They can't see from Nevada.
Oh, damn.
Edit that out. No, so...
Oh, Joe, Lauren, we're out of bourbon. We need some bourbon.
We just need one pallet. That's it.
Just one
pallet,
single pallet.
12 feet tall.
Of
full boxes.
Some pack leader reserve. And some 2-bitch with bite. And some Eureka Gold.
I'm not
Gold
gonna be
in them
picky.
hills. And we'll be set for at least a week.
Till July.
A week.
The 4th. So...
Anyway.
No, I had another friend going to Tennessee.
Okay.
Told him you got to try this steak. Her husband, their whole family got it. 2 families in the last month went down there, got the steak. I think it's a total of like 8 or 9 people. All told me best steak they've ever had. The Smoky Mountain Brewery and Grill in Pigeon Forge and in Gatlinburg.
I keep
Ale
forgetting
steak.
to tag them.
You got to tag them. They're ale steak, cooked medium. Don't make them ruin it. They're whoever they have doing the grill or whatever, perfection every time. It's always cooked perfectly. And then you get the side of broccoli with beer cheese and the smashed potatoes.
What's their name again?
Smoky Mountain Brewery and Grill, something like that.
God, I need to quit
they're
writing
on
like a
Instagram.
5-year-old. We ran into this issue when we were over at Kamiwaza, and I was like,
You're too far from your mic.
And I even pronounced philosophical wrong.
And you didn't know it until you listened back to it.
Well, I did. I'm like, how did I pronounce that word wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Philosophical. But I couldn't read my own... Philosophical. I couldn't read my own writing on the definition on what common sense was. Sound practical advice for everyday use.
Right.
And I couldn't even read it. I couldn't even read it.
I do that all the time. That's why I didn't give you too much crap for it.
I write like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I do too.
Actually, my 6-year-old writes better than I do, so I write like a 3-year-old.
You write like a 5-year-old. So
Smoky
here's this
Mountain
brewery.
Brewery.
You can get a flight of beers. Like, you'd love it.
I would. I just need to head down to
there.
Gatlinburg.
Next time you go to Kentucky for some bourbon or whatever, just keep going.
I never go to Kentucky. I only go to Newport, which is technically Ohio.
Yeah, well.
I mean, that's where the Cincinnati airport is. It's in Newport, Kentucky.
That's a whole inbred city, a bunch of states, touching tips. All right, so 10 steak cooking myths to ignore.
Keep an eye out or an ear out for Randy's new short show called Touchin' Tips.
It's called Nanner Fight. First off, so
Touchin' Tips with Randy.
First steak tip.
All right, this is myth.
This is a myth.
Myth
to ignore. Avoid using a fork to turn your steak.
Oh, absolutely.
The myth is partly true. Poking your steak with a fork while cooking it can cause the steak to lose valuable juices. In truth, a steak is filled with many tightly packed sections filled with water. Poking these sections can, in fact, release the water they contain, but the degree lost is so small, the loss of juices can't be detected while you eat a steak. They're saying it's a myth. You can use a fork to turn your steak.
I always use tongs.
Well, try a fork. See if you notice the difference.
Nope. I will always use tongs.
See? You're already wrong.
Nope.
That means your steak's not that good.
Because they said it's a myth.
Here's one you're going to hate. No, this is a myth to ignore.
Oh, to ignore.
Yeah.
Oh, I always use tongs anyway. I
so
use
it says
tongs
in the
on
truth,
the
the steak's filled
everything.
with many tightly packed sections filled with water. Poking them can release the water they contain, but the loss is so small that you can't detect it.
Oh, it doesn't. I use tongs for everything on the grill.
Really, either one would work. They're saying it doesn't matter if you use a fork, because some people are like, don't use a fork. Oh, you release the juices.
Oh.
Which is dumb, because if you think about it, meat is porous.
Right.
People will soak a meat or put rub in it and then worry about juices lost. Like, it's porous.
Right.
So
no,
anyway.
that makes sense, but I use tongs for everything.
I mean, on a grill, I usually do. I don't know.
Yeah, I use tongs for everything.
Beth loves cooking. My dad loves grilling. Mom loves grilling, so I kind of just eat. All right, the next one, you're going to love this. Wait until after a steak is cooked to season it.
No.
So here's the myth. It states that you shouldn't season your steak until after you've cooked it. The belief is that salting it beforehand can dry it out, thus making the meat tough. The truth. Drying out the surface of your steak before cooking helps it to brown more easily while cooking. For best results, salt the surface of the steak at least 45 minutes before cooking. This allows it to dry sufficiently for the best browning. So that you agree with?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that you season it before.
I always let
sit.
I always let the when I do my steak, my own personal preference,
right?
Which I always pull my steak out. I pull out my meat.
Tubes. Never mind. Hi, Mom.
I always pull my meat out of the fridge about an hour and a half before I grill it.
How long do you leave your meat in the fridge?
Well, it just sits there until it's ready to cook.
Must be very inconvenient to try to get it.
It's very chilly.
All right. Sorry, go ahead. Pull it out of the fridge.
Usually before it's ready to grill, I try to pull it out at least an hour to an hour and a half before I'm ready to grill. And then I will salt my meat about 40 minutes before grilling.
We keep staring at each other's eyes, and we're trying so hard not to bust out laughing.
It's so hard.
I salt
my meat be about 40 minutes before grilling.
Okay, that's about what it says.
And then right on the grill.
All right, now here's one. Steak tastes best hot off the grill.
No.
That's a myth.
That's a myth.
The truth is, steak served right off the grill is often dry and tough. Allow it to rest on a warm plate for a few minutes before serving. This allows the meat to relax. Hey now.
Yeah, it does.
And the juices, it didn't get better. The juices just spread back out through the meat after cooking, making it juicier. This must be what they do at the brewery, because every single person that I've sent, and every time I've gone, which is at least once a year when we're down there, usually twice a year when we go down, it's like butter. It's the most tender steak I've ever had. But yeah, don't cut into it right off the grill.
No.
Let it chill for a minute.
And I always do this at least I let the meat sit, whether it's a steak, a hamburger, hot dogs, kibasi, depending on what it is, at least 3 to 10 minutes. Just let it sit.
You got to let your meat relax.
Let it relax.
Yep. Don't need uptight meat.
No. If it's too tough or too hard, it's not going to relax in your mouth.
Yeah, you don't want hard meat.
You want juicy meat in your mouth.
Right. Next one, flip the steak only once. Here's the myth. One big misnomer that steak cookers follow is the maxim that you should ever flip a steak is you should never flip a steak more than once.
No, I don't follow that at all.
Now, where it stems from is up for debate, but it might play into the erroneous belief that searing a steak locks in the juices. Again, you can't lock in juices on something porous.
Right.
That's like trying to keep water in a sponge.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. The truth is, flipping a steak multiple times while cooking not only helps it cook up to 30% faster, but it also cooks the meat more evenly. As a matter of fact, the gentler cooking imparted by flipping the meat allows it to cook more overall.
Well, just rotating your meat. Rotisseries. What's a rotisserie do? It just constantly rotates.
Spins your meat.
Spins your meat.
Or a spit, like at habaneros.
Yeah.
Al pastor. I bring in a few of these places way too often.
But
none of them close to me.
I don't believe in the just rotate
well, I think
it
if you just let something sit on one side for so long, and then you flip to the other side, and you don't. What if you don't cook it the same? It's not the same heat for the same time. You're going to have a way uneven cooked steak.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like if I'm like when I'm working on a knife blade or a handle or sanding something. If I go one side then flip to the other instead of going back and forth and working it evenly, it's going to be hard for you to match.
Well,
both sides.
It's the same thing with chicken, with hot dogs. If you're doing kibasi or brats,
I love it every time you say it.
Hot dog.
Hot dogs.
Hot dog. And it's a hot dog. H-U-T.
Right.
H-A-W-T. Hot dog.
Hot dog.
You rotate them. You got to rotate them more than once. You just constantly spin them.
Yeah, so, just like on the rollers at Speedway.
I don't eat.
They're delicious because they keep spinning.
I don't go into a Speedway.
Oh, okay. Next.
But I know what you're talking about because I used to have them at Hills, the department store.
Oh, whatever. Next, you should pinkies up. Eat my hot dog with my pinkies up because I got it from his department store.
They're not around anymore.
Whatever. I didn't know that. I don't go to department stores because I'm a man.
Well, Hills hasn't been around since.
Did you cry when Sears shut down?
Kind of.
Lazarus went out
because I have a Sears department store gift card.
Of course, you should frame it.
It's got $11 on it. I'm disappointed.
$11. I mean, count inflation. Like 50 years, it'll be worth like.
Dude, that's a socket.
23 cents.
That's a socket.
You should take it to Lowe's now. They have Craftsman to see if they'll honor it.
They
like, I want to buy a 10-millimeter socket.
I need like 40 10-millimeter sockets.
No, you get one for $11.
No, they're like, I need 40 of them because I need 40 of these.
Quit losing them. Next one.
They get up and walk away.
You should marinate a steak.
No.
The myth is the belief that you must marinate a steak to get the best steak.
No. Salt.
Misconnections. Marinade helps tenderize it. It's not true. It can impart some extra flavor to a steak, so you can marinate a steak beforehand. But if you find yourself ready to cook a steak that's not marinated, add flavor in form of olive oil, chopped herbs, or other items after cooking.
I always just add salt.
Yeah.
Salt to my steak.
I do like some I've had them marinated and not. I do like some marinated because it does change the flavor, but it doesn't make it more tender or anything.
No, and if you're going to marinate a steak, you have to do it 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, you've got to give it time to soak in.
Yeah.
Because it's porous. And you can't sear it to seal that in.
If you're going to marinate a steak, tenderize the steak.
I wonder if I can inject a steak like we do our turkeys.
You can, yes.
We inject turkeys and deep fry them, and
you can use
I'm going to deep fry a steak.
gigantic syringe.
Yeah.
And inject the meat with the gigantic syringe.
I want to deep fry a steak.
You just have deep fried steak. It's called country fried steak.
No, not with the breading. Just like we do the turkeys. You inject it, you drop it in.
You just drop it in.
Yeah, but country fried's where they put breading on.
Tomato. Potato, tomato, potato. Whatever you say.
I was just going to let you keep going there.
I mean, at some point I'll get it.
Next myth. Boneless steak has less flavor than bone-in steak.
Incorrect.
It is incorrect.
I can bust every one of these.
If you leave the bone in the steak, it will have more flavor.
I am a meat master.
I don't doubt that. Flavorful compounds. I don't even know how much meat you've handled in your life.
You don't want to know.
That exist in the bone transferring to the meat. Truth is, it's false. When the meat cooks, it tends to push stuff out, which will prohibit compounds from the bone making their way into the meat. So, what might be happening is that the bone tends to insulate the meat right next to it, making that particular section more flavorful and juicy. So it could, but only around the bone.
Yeah.
Next myth. The poke test is a good way to check doneness.
No.
So I've got a scale here from rare to well. It's from 120 degrees to 160. It's talking more about the temps. The myth states an experienced cook can tell the doneness of a piece of steak merely by poking it. The belief is a rare steak feels like the fleshy part of the hand at the base of the thumb when touching it with your index finger. A medium cooked steak is if you touch your middle finger, and well done is if you touch your ring finger. This is all touching that meaty part of your thumb.
Right, that's all doing this.
And then, which that does change the firmness of that part of your hand, but has nothing to do with the steak.
No. And it also depends on the type of cut you have.
Yeah, and how thick.
I mean,
there's too many variables.
And if you let it marinate with... Because salt,
salt might change that.
If you put salt on a steak, and depending on how much salt, like when you salt and crust the steak,
right,
the salt is going to break down the muscle tissue of the steak, and therefore going to change when it cooks.
I don't know how salt affects steak, white science guy, so I'm just going to have to accept that you are 75% telling me the truth.
Right. So just take it as what I tell you, and it's going to change the muscle fiber. It's going to break it down.
Here's something I haven't actually
I'm
heard
a butcher. They call me the butcher.
I actually have a friend that's a butcher. We should have called him. He does legit like craft butchery stuff. Like picture your fancy beers, but with meat.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, he's only in Indiana. We can road trip. It's
That's
like 3 hours away.
Just only in Indiana.
3 hours? That ain't bad.
Kentucky's closer.
Not about the same.
No, Kentucky's 2 hours away. Indiana's 3 hours away.
Yeah. Potato, tomato. They're
See,
both
there
fruits.
it is. Nope.
So checking the doneness of the steak is an exact thing and shouldn't be trusted to such a method.
Tuber.
Plebes. The easiest and safest way to check steak is to insert a cooking thermometer. Rare meat should be at least how many degrees, Martell?
I don't know. Red?
Red degrees. 125 degrees or higher. Medium at 146 and well done.
When I say it's done?
Well done at 165, a.k.a. burnt to a briquette.
I will eat meat raw. I don't give a shit.
I've heard that about you. $20 is $20. Next myth. Searing steak at high heat locks in the juices. You guys cannot lock in juices.
No.
It's not possible. Quit
ruining your steaks. They call me the American Salt Bae.
I've never heard anybody. I've heard you call you that.
Right.
Just now.
Some
cooks claim that you should sear the surfaces of a steak to keep more of the juices inside. The searing process creates a barrier that traps the juices as the meat cooks. Truth is, searing the surface of a steak when you first start cooking it in no way creates a barrier. Steak that's cooked more gently and finished with a sear at the end of cooking is more evenly cooked, more flavorful, and a juicier slab of meat.
Do you know what you have to do to create a sear at the end, though? You know how hot it has to be to do that?
7 hot?
It's got to be like 1,000 fucking degrees.
I don't think so. I don't feel like that's right.
You don't think that's right?
No.
Okay.
Like 1,000 might be too much. I feel like you're going to burn it.
That's called a sear.
Like throw it on my forge.
Done.
Like 1,600 degrees. Finish the steak, throw it on a forge, eat it.
Right.
After 3 to 10 minutes.
No, just like 10 seconds.
Next myth.
It's called a sear.
Steak to check for doneness causes it to lose its juices.
No.
There are a lot of myths based around juicy meat. Just as with poking a steak with a fork, while cooking is believed to cause it to lose its juiciness, so can cutting it with a knife. Myth. The truth. Just like when using a fork to poke a steak, the amount of juices lost when cutting a steak is so small it's undetectable. Use a thermometer. That's pretty much it. Now here's the next one.
My thing is don't ever cut a steak while it's on the grill.
Well, it doesn't matter.
No, it does, though.
Why? There's like 3 of them here that says if you poke it with a fork or you cut it, it doesn't.
Poking it with a fork and then cutting a steak completely in half?
No, it's not saying cut it in half. It's saying just like slice into it so you can see the inside.
Oh,
not like different. Cut a steak in half on a grill.
Gotcha.
No, this is just talking about checking for the doneness by.
Okay.
If you cut into it, it's going to lose all its flavor.
No, it'll never lose its flavor, but cutting it in half.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that just because that'd be hard to do on a hot grill.
Well, no, you can do that on a hot grill. I mean, you poke it with a fork and you.
Why would you though?
Cut it in half. Because people are idiots.
Well, you're changing the size of the meat too. So you started cooking something, and then you change its genetic makeup.
Essentially,
yeah. I wouldn't cook a steak that's already cooking. Here's a myth: you should allow a steak to rest before cooking. Allowing a steak to rest at room temperature before cooking allows it to cook more evenly once you place it on the grill. This is the myth. In addition, allowing the meat to warm before cooking can help it brown better due to the fact that energy from the heat can focus on cooking the steak as opposed to warming it up. Here's the truth. While warming a steak before cooking it can help it cook more evenly, in reality, allowing the steak to sit for 20 to 30 minutes before cooking doesn't raise the internal temperature of the steak in any significant way. An easier way to bring the meat to a warmer temperature is to place it in a microwave for 3 minutes the night before.
Oh.
I'm kidding. It says place it in the refrigerator the night before.
Either way.
Not the microwave. Don't microwave your steak.
I wouldn't bring...
But they're basically saying people set it out and say you got to let it warm up before you throw it on the grill.
No, I would never do. The only reason I let mine sit out is so I can salt the shit out of it.
But it
has nothing to do with letting it.
Which they recommend that. They're just saying that this is a myth that let it sit and warm up helps it to cook, be what it say? That it helps it brown better.
Right.
Due to the focus of the heat. That? Yeah, that's not true.
I'm waiting to hear. I'm still waiting to hear one that I haven't heard yet.
That's it. That's all the myths.
That's all of them.
Yep.
So there's one that I haven't heard where it's cooking a frozen steak or a semi-frozen centered steak will cook better than. But if it's not on there, then I can't actually answer.
can't speak on it.
I can't speak on it, but I have heard that using instead of completely thawing out a steak. if the steak is still frozen in the center, throwing a semi-frozen steak on the grill will cook better than completely thawing out a steak. I don't know. I've never tried.
According to this, like they say, put it in the fridge the night before if it's frozen, which you always thaw stuff out. With chicken, with anything, you don't want to throw something frozen straight on any cooking surface.
Well, that's what they say.
But, I mean, you could.
I'm talking about semi-frozen. So it hasn't completely thawed out. The center's still frozen. And I cook everything medium rare for myself. For everyone else, I do. I do rare for myself. I do medium rare to medium for everybody else in the house because they don't like blood for some reason. The juices.
That's another one I read. I don't have it here, but the juice that comes out of a steak
is not blood.
It's not blood.
It's not.
At all.
It's
actually Derek, the guy I played music with. He read that in a book at a retreat we were doing. He found this random facts book and started carrying around reading it.
It's just
it was
juice.
the most. It was like 1,000 random facts you didn't know, and one of them was the juice that comes out of steak is not blood.
It's not blood, and I thought I read somewhere that most commercial-based meat is dyed anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. You're getting dye in your body. I don't know that that's true or not. I just read
There's all kinds of stuff in it that's injected into the bovine and the chickens and the
this is after
swines and the
slaughter.
canines and the felines.
And the equestrians.
Ooh,
horses.
Horse meat.
Yes, purple. Horse meat's purple.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's blue.
Okay. That's fine.
It's blurple.
It shimmers.
I've never had it. I know people that have.
I've only seen it.
I know people that ate dog.
I would only eat it.
It was
if I had
not
to.
until after they ate it did they know, but they ate dog.
I would only do it if I had
horse.
to.
Yeah, same.
Coyote's off the menu too, because that's.
I think I would try coyote if it wasn't domesticated dog.
It's too close to dog.
Try it, but it's not something that I would probably go after on the regular. I'll try almost any animal.
Groundhog's greasy.
I haven't had groundhog.
Raccoon's greasy.
I haven't had raccoon.
They're very gamey and greasy.
I love gator.
Gator's
tail's
great.
one of my favorite. I love
Ostrich.
rattlesnake. Ostrich is good.
Yeah.
Kangaroo jerky. I've only had a jerky. Amazing.
I'm trying to convince Liz to let me get a wallaby as a pet.
That would be amazing.
They're legal to have here in Ohio.
You have plenty of room for it too.
I know.
Let's do it.
They're legal to have here, and
Why
they're
would
great
you not
pets.
have a wallaby?
She will not let me.
Just get one.
Well, we have Diesel. We have to wait till Diesel goes. They don't
That's
get along. They don't get along great with dogs.
No, that's you keep the wallaby in a pen.
No. He roams free.
Well, then you keep Diesel away from outside. You're going to be cleaning up some dog poop in the house.
Nope.
Get a wallaby and name him Rocco.
No.
Rocco's Modern Life,
I
baby.
know,
Let's go.
I think I was going to call him Rocky.
That works.
Not Rocco.
Even though Rocky was a squirrel.
With two different shows.
Potato, tomato.
No.
They're both fruits.
No, one's a tuber. We covered this in several shows.
Tuber meat.
No.
Tuber steak.
No.
Yeah.
No. All right. Do we have anything else we want to cover?
Nope, that's it. Elephants can't jump. You don't know what you don't know. And cook your steak right.
Yeah, just take it out of the fridge.
That's the new Live, Laugh, Love. I'm going to get that on. I'm going to print that off on letters and put it on our kitchen wall and see if Beth notices.
See if she knows.
Elephants can't jump. You don't know what you don't know. Cook your steak right.
Cook your steak right. She's going to be like, is this the new barefoot and pregnant?
Awesome. That would be awesome. Just have that on our wall and script.
Check us out on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, and the...
It's the Google Tweetstagram.
Twitters. Keep an eye out, or an ear out in this case, for the timely tastings, or whatever we call them. Because they may just show up at random whenever Randy or I decide to put one out, because they'll just be random cases. Not a scheduled show, just 6 minutes of fun-filled...
Or 8, or 5, or 10.
Or 10,
like
or
10
whatever.
Or less.
We're just going to put them in your ear hole.
Right in your ear hole. Right next to the tuber meat.
Yep. Brand new flavor in your ear hole.
That we let marinate.
Yeah.
for 24 hours and then salted and seared all the juices in.
Yeah, and back to that, just take your meat out of the fridge, salt the shit out of it, both sides, let it sit for about 40 minutes, toss it on the grill, the broiler pan, done deal.
And if anybody here goes to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge for vacation, go to the Smoky Mountain Brewery and get an ale steak.
Ale steak.
Ale steak. It's cooked with one of their beers. I don't know what that does to it.
You know what? I had to try to marinate a steak in just a stout.
You should.
I should just put it in a
I also wonder if they
stout.
Do they do it in a pan and they pour some beer in it while it's cooking? Like, I don't know how they do it, but it's the most tender steak.
I'm just going to marinate it. I'm just going to put it in a Ziploc bag and marinate one overnight. Like, I'm just going to go head down to Meijer.
No, you got to go get some good meat from the butcher.
Oh, I will. I can take shitty meat.
Go to Walmart.
I can head over to Meijer, get some shitty meat, and turn it into good meat.
Quality product.
Because I don't want to go over to Blystone.
Start with a good foundation.
Trust me.
If you're going to build a temple,
doesn't matter what
on sand.
Doesn't matter what I buy. I can turn shit to gold. I'm an alchemist.
You can turn gold to golder.
It doesn't work that way.
You can turn gold into Eureka Gold.
I can turn gold into lead.
John, we need more Eureka Gold to marinate steaks in.
Joe.
I'm awful with names. Joe and Lauren? I was close.
You're close. So, I had to try that.
I just picture you marinating in 2 bits of Eureka Gold and then drinking it out of the back because you don't want to waste it. After sitting with a steak for 24 hours.
I might try it. It's not going to hurt me any. Like I said, I'll eat raw meat, so raw steak.
You'll eat raw meat, but you won't eat Oreos and salsa.
That was disgusting.
It was pretty bad.
That was bad. Finally, you admit it. That was.
Oh, it was bad that day.
It made my stomach hurt.
I just wasn't going. Yeah, I did not do that again. I don't plan on doing it ever again.
No, we're not doing that
unless I get $1 million for it. Would you do it for $1 million? $1.5
million.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We got the timely tastings. We got Randy doing his road rage or whatever he's going to do, or just the tips or touching tips or whatever he decides he's going to come up with, or he can just do timely tastings, whatever we call this, whatever randomness that we're going to do throughout the week. If we decide to do them, when we decide to do them, however we decide to do them. We got more stuff coming for you. So with that, I'm Martelle. He's Randy. We're out. Pinkies up. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.